Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today in this video we have our very first guest, Josh Morrow.
Happy to be here. So my name's Josh Morrow. I'm a freshman here at NYU, specifically NYU Stern. And I'm originally from North Carolina, so it's been a bit of an adjustment coming here to the city, but it's been really fun thus far.
Nice. So tell us a little bit about your college application experience and why you ended up choosing Stern.
Sure, yeah. So I, coming from North Carolina, there was a boarding school I got to go to that's part of the UNC system. And so pretty early I got to have some really awesome opportunities. So kind of in the business world, specifically more with entrepreneurship.
So what is your concentration, basically?
Yeah, so essentially I haven't declared anything yet, but I'm pretty interested at this point to do the BS/MS accounting program that's offered at Stern. So people usually declare for that closer to, I'll apply at the end of this year and then declare it during sophomore year.
Right.
And so it doesn't totally affect most of what I'm studying right now, but eventually it means that I'll be able to, with only the addition of one summer, so after I would usually graduate in May of 2024.
Yeah.
So the summer of 2024, I'll get to stay here and do just that term, and I'll graduate with a bachelor's and BS in business, and then also a master's in accounting from Stern. And I just felt like that's a really good value for this, and I think that I wasn't super intrigued specifically by any of the other concentrations, and I've really been enjoying my accounting class, and so I feel like it's going to be a good opportunity to try to aim for.
If people don't know, at Stern, you can go in as a BA major or BS.
Yes,
Wait.
either I think it's BS or BPE.
BPE, yeah. Do you know much about BPE? Because I really don't.
Yeah, so my boyfriend actually is in BPE, and so usually during the sophomore year, the thing that sets it apart, it's a pretty select program because everybody travels together, and it's supposed to be London in the fall of sophomore year and Shanghai in the spring of sophomore year, both of which are at NYU specific campuses. But the curriculum is kind of based a little bit around that, and it follows a little bit more focusing on the political economy as well as the business stuff. So they take a lot of the same business courses as us, but it's really they don't concentrate. It's just political economy. And so if it weren't for the pandemic, it would make a really interesting experience with that abroad and the kind of cohort mentality, moving through all the same courses and abroad experiences. But this year it's a little bit hindered because of the pandemic. So.
For accounting, what is it, the BS?
Yeah, BS/MS.
MS, yeah. Is that the one where you get to take an exam at the end?
Yeah, so I think that's essentially how it works. It kind of trains you a little bit for that, so that whenever you come out with the certification for that.
Yeah, that's cool.
So yeah, which is a lot of, that's obviously a big industry that people are going into out of Stern anyway, so it's good to kind of get that out of the way.
What about clubs? Any clubs?
Yeah, so I've been involved in SBLA, which is the Stern Business Law Association, and then also Pride Corps, which is the LGBTQ diversity club at Stern specifically. So, and I'm the treasurer for SBLA, and then I'm on some committees for Pride Corps.
Can you describe a little bit more what SBLA is?
Yeah, sure. So it's kind of it's not entirely a pre-law club because there's a pre-law club outside of Stern, just in NYU. But the SBLA is kind of focused more on kind of corporate law and that kind of thing. And it's not even specifically people who want to go to law school. It's people from a lot of different backgrounds that are just generally interested in law. So we get to have a lot of different speakers come in and some different panels talking a little bit about LSAT prep, but really focusing more on just alumni and some Stern alumni that have kind of incorporated law into their business-focused career.
Do you think you want to go into law school?
Yeah, so that's kind of the weird thing is maybe I'll be stacking up a bunch of grad.
Wow.
I just think that the MS accounting is kind of the icing on top in terms of the Stern experience.
What makes NYU Stern, their business program, different than any other business program?
Yeah, so I think within various business programs, I don't think there's a tremendous difference. I think one of the actually kind of cool things that Stern does that's a little different from maybe Wharton or Dyson or some of the other big name business schools, and I guess actually Ross too would be
Ross?
It's Michigan's business school, but they focus more on a kind of environmental stewardship as part of it, and some of the social impact is also a really big part of it. So it's not only learning all the ins and outs of business itself, but also more that how that applies in the social and environmental ramifications of it. So a bit more of a new age approach to business education.
Any hard classes, not so great professors?
Truthfully, the only one that I had was outside of Stern.
Oh, really?
I took Calc 1 because when I took
who'd you take it with?
Felkistova.
Oh, I don't know.
She's from Tandon, and that was a bit challenging. Yeah, a little more than I was expecting, but it's a requirement for Stern.
Right.
Even though I took Calc BC in my senior year, but at my school, I kind of checked out a little bit during the pandemic, and I was expecting initially to go to UNC, and so I was going to have articulation for the course there. So I wasn't I actually canceled my AP registration, and then I got the notification that I got off the wait list at Stern the day that I canceled my AP registration. So I had to go and email them again. Try to get re-registered, and then I had to study in 24 hours, and I was didn't pull it together. So did not do well enough on the AP exam, but ideally that's what I would have been able to do to avoid that in the first place. But
what did you need for the AP exam to not have to take it?
I think at least a 3 or a 4,
Really?
but I did not. So.
AB or
Is
BC?
I don't know. I think
Isn't it BC?
I think AB was a 5, something like that.
Yeah, AB was
but then
a 5.
BC's, I think, if it's sub-scored, it's a little you can get I think a lower score. If you the AB sub-score is what matters because it's only Calc 1 you have to do.
To wrap it up, do you think that Stern is worth the very large price tag?
I think it depends on really where you're coming from. I think that in terms of living in New York, being able to have that kind of experience, and I think if it's more worth it than I think that Wharton or Cornell or some other alternative Ivies, just because I think that if you're going to pay this much, you may as well live in the most expensive city in the country. Since it's only not that much more than most of the Ivies are in tuition and housing, it's a great time to live in New York and be able to explore some different kind of stuff while still having an elite education. And I think if that's what you're seeking, elite education has a high price tag, no matter where it is. Granted, the public alternatives are a significantly better bang for buck, but it's a different experience. And there's I think some more opportunities and kind of specific support here that we get in Stern that I don't think I would have been getting if I went to UNC, which is Keenan Flagler. They've got a business school, but it's a little bit more, I feel like theirs is more grad focused. And I think they're developing a little bit better of an undergrad program. Actually, they're doubling it now, which is pretty impressive. But I think that this is a much more intensive education than from what I've heard from some of my peers that are at UNC for that. So.
Wow. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. If you guys have any other questions, let's leave it down in the comment below. And all right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.